What up, Misfits? Welcome to the Misfit Heroes podcast. My name is Chris, and together we are going on a journey. Misfits, this episode might be a little bit different than what you're used to hearing here. A while back, I did an episode with Tracy Ryder of OBX Room at the Inn, which is an organization that offers free shelter and clothing to the homeless right here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. In that episode, I spoke about my own personal experiences with homelessness in the past, and we spoke about the various situations that can lead to someone becoming homelessness and the personal health and well-being issues that living on the street can do to a person. If you haven't heard it, I'll put it down in the show notes down below. Now, a few months ago, I went to a convention called Podfest, and I met literally hundreds of people. When I arrived at the show, I'll be honest, I was pretty intimidated. I spoke on a stage with people that had made millions of dollars in podcasting, and there were industry professionals that connected me with companies and services that offered book deals, social media promotion, even appearances on TV shows. On the first morning, within the very first 10 minutes of arriving at Podfest, I sat down with three people. One was a promoter of another podcast convention, one was a professor at Brigham Young University, and the third person was tonight's guest, Bonnie Hardy. Now, after talking for a few minutes about what we were all looking to get out of Podfest, we asked Bonnie what she was looking for. She said she wanted to be a better podcast guest and that she was looking to become a life coach and share her experiences with others. When asked what she wanted to share with others, she mentioned that she wanted to share the idea that you can overcome anything with positivity and that everyone can do something to brighten someone else's day. I looked at Bonnie's feet and I noticed that she had her belongings with her still. I asked if she had checked into the hotel at the convention center yet, and she humbly replied no, and she seemed to become a little bit more distant in the conversation from that point forward. Now, when everyone had left to get started with the convention, I continued talking with Bonnie. She mentioned to me that she was homeless and that she had slept on the benches in front of the convention center the night before. I spoke with her for a while longer, actually missing the opening of the convention, while we chatted about her story and how she became in the position that she was in, if there was anything that she needed help with, and if she had a place to stay safely. I noticed that over the next 4 days of the convention, Bonnie remembered our interaction every single time that our paths crossed. We started inviting each other into conversations with other podcasters. By the end of the 4-day expo, she was just as friendly and outgoing with others as she had been with me the first time that we met. I wanted to sit down with Bonnie to share her story and let her speak about her passion for helping others when it seemed like no one else would help her. We decided to find a quiet place in a hallway away from the convention to sit down and do a podcast, which we'll play in a bit. But before that happens, I wanted to get a point across first before I air the video of that interview. Bonnie's story has a personal impact to me. Having been in her shoes, I know that it can be difficult to put yourself out there for others to weigh judgment, act like they understand, or even show kindness to you. In an earlier episode, I gave my testimony about a period in my life when I was homeless. I didn't go into much detail, but I wanted to provide some particulars here on this episode. I became homeless when I left college. I had fallen behind in my studies, and I failed a course. The college I went to denied me a dorm room because of that, and I started looking for places to stay. I had no job at that point. My resume consisted of a year as a cart attendant at a Target store 300 miles away during high school. It took me about a month of living in my car before I was able to find a job as a car salesman of all things at a dealership in Norfolk, Virginia, which was great. Except, who wants to buy a car from someone who doesn't have access to a shower or a bed? I was required to wear a suit to work, which very quickly became wrinkled and unkempt from working the lot outside for 12 hours a day. I kept my clothes and belongings that I could fit into my car from my dorm room. I still made it to work every single day, and while I was staying in my car in the back of a parking lot for a glass and mirror factory, one night I was jumped by 4 men while walking back from a McDonald's to get food. Now, they beat me up pretty badly, and they took my shoes and what little cash that I had in my wallet. When I got to work the next day, I showed up in a collared shirt, dress slacks, a tie, and some indoor soccer shoes. My supervisor asked about my appearance and was about to send me home when a coworker asked to come talk to me and offered me assistance. He let me stay in his home for a few weeks until I could get back on my feet. There's a lot more to that story, But I wanted to mention it because it brings to light a few things that often come up when people talk about the issue of homelessness as a whole. Every situation is different. Too often, when people see a homeless person, the litany of what ifs about their story quickly pops thoughts into people's heads. Is there a mental health issue there? Is there a mental illness issue? Are they on drugs? How do they have no one to care for them? My situation was because of my own perception of myself. I was the first person in my family to attend college, and I was the first person in my family to be removed from college. My parents never knew of my homelessness, and I'm never spoken to them about it even to this day. I was so ashamed of my failure and defeat that I would rather sleep in a warehouse 300 miles away from my family back home than tell them about it. I mention all this not to focus on my story, but to alliterate to Bonnie's story a little bit further. When we sat down to do the podcast, it was in a hallway used to access the convention center on the final day of the event, before the convention even got started. Now, we had got permission from the hotel, the event staff, and found a quiet, discreet area to film the interview. About halfway through the interview, people started to come in and enter the event before it started. There were looks, there were comments under their breath, and even a custodial worker that made some snide comments about why I was doing a podcast with a homeless lady. And through that, Bonnie continued to share her message of how everyone can do something to make others' day a little bit better. There's a lesson to be learned in there, Misfits. Even when times seem bleak, your life is not over. And regardless of any external factors, you are in control of your outlook. Misfits, I'm glad I got to sit down and speak with Bonnie. We finished the interview, and I went and I bought her some breakfast, some snacks for later, and I offered her a ride back to where she was staying before I left the event. I hope that there's a lot that you can take from this interview, Misfits. We discussed some of the hardships Bonnie has faced, what made her want to help others, and how to stay positive in times of great negativity. Here's my interview with Bonnie Hardy.
Playing the Misfit Heroes podcast.
All right. Well, Bonnie, welcome to the Misfit Heroes podcast. I am so happy that I've met you. I just want to say this up front. I think you've got a great heart about you, and I've really enjoyed speaking with you the last few days. We're recording live here at Podfest in Orlando, Florida, and you were actually the first person I met when I walk in the door, right? And you've got a crazy story to tell, so I want to hear it. So let's just put it out there in the moment. At the moment, currently, you are homeless, correct?
Right. Actually, it's nice to meet you, Chris. You actually were the first person that I met coming here, so we had a nice talk and stuff. And yes, at the moment, I am currently homeless in the Kissimmee, Florida area.
Okay. Tell me about that a little bit. So I know you and I talked before, and I believe you said you were from South Carolina, correct?
I'm originally from Massachusetts. I was born in Massachusetts. My dad was in the Air Force, and we moved to Okinawa for the war. And when I was about a year old, then we lived in South Carolina for a while, and then my family moved to South Florida. And I've basically been in Florida area since 1969 when I was about 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
My family lives in South Florida still, but I live up here in the Orlando, Florida area.
Okay. And so when did you move to where you're at now? What was the situation like?
I've been kind of in the general area of Kissimmee for about 10 years, a couple different places and stuff like that. But if you talk about my current situation being homeless, I've been there for about 3 months.
3 months. Do you mind talking about what led up to that situation?
No, I don't mind talking about it. It was actually a crazy situation. I was living in a hostel and it got sold. And then they were saying they're going to tear it down. So they ended up turning off the electricity, and the water recently got turned off. And there's like really nobody there in charge of anything. So we don't know if it's going to end up being completely bulldozed or what's going on. The other hotels that are nearby, they're by the same owner. They've got bulldozed. So I decided to move out so I could have some sense of stability, because I didn't know day to day what was going to happen. So I ended up moving out of there. I stayed with a friend in Daytona for a couple weeks, and then I came back down here. And it's been a little over 3 months as I've been homeless. I didn't really think it was going to end up being this long, but crazy things have happened, but I've been planting a lot of seeds
Yeah.
for a long time, and now they're coming to fruition.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
I'm planning that in June to not be homeless anymore.
Yeah.
But this is teaching me a lesson. And I think it's teaching other people a lesson too.
What's that?
Don't let your circumstances define you.
Yeah.
And I see people who have beautiful big houses, nice cars, and they still complain about stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like you learn to be a very creative and resourceful when you're homeless doing certain things.
Yeah.
So I do move around during the day to go to different places, to get online, to run my business. And then at night I have a different places I can sleep. I sleep on concrete benches at night.
Yeah.
So it's not very comfortable, but I have a towel I lay out, and then I have my sheet, and I have one of my tote bags I use as a pillow. And I don't get much sleep at night because there's traffic going around. I'm actually like about a mile away from the entrance to Walt Disney World. So you can imagine the traffic over there
Yeah.
every night. But I make it work, and I don't complain, and I help others. I have some like little sayings I like to say, rock bottom to rock solid, and make dreams happen, and, better, not broken, and things like that.
Yeah.
So I just, use my mindset to really help me. It's like, it's not good that I'm homeless, but I'm sleeping outside. So I'm getting fresh air every night. I'm looking at the moon and stars, learning about astronomy. I myself try to reframe negatives into positives, and I show other people how to do that. And I show people how to appreciate what they do have and don't dwell on what they don't have. So at least I'm not laying right flat on the ground. I have done that a few times, but for the most part, I'm elevated off the ground on a bench. So it's not as bad as sleeping on the ground because I have bad knees. I can't get up and down very easily. I'm old. I'm 57 years old, so that's hard for me to do that,
Well, I mean, I'm sure people are going to ask this, but what are you doing at a podcasting convention?
Yeah. I have been a guest on quite a few podcasts.
Yeah.
And I actually won a trip here from a podcast host, Christine McAllister, and she's very, very nice person. I met her in person for the first time a few nights ago.
Yeah.
She is helping me to be a better guest on podcasts. And I'm here to learn how to be a good guest and how to make the most of being a guest. So I'm here, and I've got to meet a whole lot of people already. And people keep asking me, what are you looking to get out of this? I said, I'm looking to get out of this to be a better guest.
You are a mindset coach.
Right. I'm a mindset, life, and gratitude coach.
I was reading some of the stuff that you have on Facebook on there, and I wanted to talk about the plan that you have set forth for people. But before we get into that, what made you want to do this?
Well, what made me want to do this is I don't have like a total life coach certification,
right?
But I'm kind of like the life coach of School of Hard Knocks, Yeah.
I think people can learn from that no matter what. I think sometimes that's the best school, if I'm being real.
Right. Because I've been through so many different things in my life, being bullied, having anxiety, having depression, things like that. And I want to help others that have gone through that. And if somebody has never gone through any of that, they have a harder time helping you. It's like if you are looking to lose weight and you hire a fitness trainer who has never had to lose weight, never been overweight, they can't totally relate. And I can relate. There's really not much you can tell me that I haven't been through myself, or if it's not me, it's one of my very close friends that's been through it. Yeah. I'm not married. I've never been married, but I know people that have been divorced, so I know how to navigate that kind of thing and stuff like that. So I like to just, I like to help people to live their best life.
Yeah.
What I do is I empower people to say bon voyage to the shackles in their mind that stop them from living the life of their dreams.
Right.
Mainly it's midlife people, midlife women. I'm 57 right now. Yeah. You get to be my age and you could be divorced or a widow, or your kids have grown up and they moved out, and you're like, is that all there is? What's left for me to do? You're kind of sleepwalking through life. You're treading water. And sometimes people, they're like, oh, there's nothing left. I'm not going to do anything. And you don't want to end up like in a nursing home at 55 or something like that.
Right.
There's so much more things to do. It doesn't matter how old you are. At this day and age, people living to over 100. My great grandmother, great aunt lived to be like 102 years old or something like that. So I want people to say, hey, there's stuff to look forward to in your life. And with the mindset, just have a strong mindset and be positive. Yes, there's going to be negative things, but you always want to try to look at the good of stuff and just doing the gratitude, be grateful.
Yeah.
I give clients and friends just things to do when you wake up in the morning. Name 5 or 10 things you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And go out and ground yourself. I live in Florida, so it's easy to do. Go out, take your shoes off, stand in the dirt or in the grass for a couple seconds, and feel the earth underneath you, and just take a deep breath, stretch your arms out, and just be grateful. Like 5 to 10 minutes in the morning to do this, and that starts your day really good. If you start everything good, you're going to end up good, because you start in a bad mood or you're rushing around doing things and stuff. You're going to be all frazzled and stuff. So you're going to get into a routine, 5 to 10 minutes in the morning, get this going, have your day be awesome. And every day you wake up is an awesome day. So that's what I say.
Every day is a blessing. I mean,
right.
I got to be honest, in your situation, it's amazing to hear you say that. And there's a lot of people I don't think that would have that same outlook. We spoke before, and I mentioned to you that in the past I was also homeless. So a lot of people don't understand that struggle. Right. A lot of people see what they see on TV, and it's like some weird depiction of what homeless is. And there's varying degrees of homeless. Right. I wasn't sleeping on the streets, but I did have to. What do I want to say on this podcast? I did have to. Well, I'm just going to be real. There were times where I broke into a building for a place to sleep one night. But I did have a car. It's just every situation is so different. And the things that you see and living life on the street. Now, at the time I was in a part of Virginia, Portsmouth, Virginia. Right. It was a rough neighborhood. It's called Ashley Park. People from there will know. They'll be like, yikes, Yeah. I've been driving around Orlando. I'm not from Orlando, but for the last couple of days, and I was out last night until about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and that's not even late. And right. there were some areas I was like, yikes, What do you see? Any things? Have you seen some things?
I've seen some things. I've had some stuff happen. Most of the time, it's okay. Yeah. But recently, like a week or so ago, I had somebody. I kind of opened my eyes because I go to sleep, but you don't really go into a deep sleep when you're in that position. But I had a guy standing kind of close to me saying, "I'll give you money for you know what?" And I'm like, "No, please go away. Yeah. Leave me alone." He called me some nasty names, said I deserved to be homeless and stuff. And luckily, it doesn't happen very often. But I want to say to people, don't judge somebody who's homeless. You don't know their story. And even if somebody drinks a lot or does drugs, they're still a person too. Yeah. And you don't know why they got into that position. What if I was your mother, your sister, your daughter? What if Chris was your father, your son, your brother? How would you want them to be treated if they were homeless? So try to be understanding and stuff like that. And I challenge people. I do this on a lot of occasions. I say, today's a perfect day. It's the weekend. It's Saturday. It's a holiday weekend. Go out in your backyard. Put up a tent if you want. Sleep in that tent for 2 nights. You have no electricity. You have no Wi-Fi. You better have a bucket nearby in case nature calls. Yeah. And just think about that and sleep in there for 2 nights and see how much sleep you get. Yeah. See how can you eat food? What kind of food can you eat when you're homeless? Yeah. You can't cook anything. And I can make bolognese sandwiches, but cheese is going to melt in 2 days. Yeah. So why don't you kind of think about that kind of stuff when you're judging people? And anybody can be in this position at any time. Yeah. And you've been doing this for 3 months. Yeah. Unfortunately, I certainly wasn't planning on it, and I'm not happy being homeless. I don't want to be homeless. There's other situations, but I am making the best of a situation. And look, Christine told me on Sunday that I won this for this weekend, and it started on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I could have said, I can't do it. Luckily, I live close enough. I figured stuff out. I had to call a Lyft to get here early on Thursday morning. Yeah. I changed some stuff around. I spent some money that I really can't totally afford to spend, but I'm looking at the long term. And how many people have I met already? I'm on a podcast right now, so obviously I'm doing something good with it.
It works.
Yeah, it works. So just get out there and do it. And I tell people all the time, just do it and don't worry about what other people think. There's always going to have people opinions, and if they don't like you, then they don't like you. And if they're projecting onto you that they are unhappy, then let them do it. And if I would have said no and I'm not doing anything, where would I be? I'd be waking up this morning, I don't know,
Yeah.
on the bench.
Yeah.
And I'd probably be just sitting outside, doing whatever, twiddling my thumbs. But I'll hang out here for a couple more hours, and I got to go back to Kissimmee celebration area. And it's like I go through all my contacts I got and follow up with people. And I won a swag bag the other night and
There
stuff
you
like
go.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's looking up. It's looking up. I want to say this, and I'm a stream of consciousness person, so
Right.
I don't just let me run with it, okay?
Okay.
So, I am very impressed for a 57-year-old woman. It takes some balls.
Right.
That's I don't know if that's a clean way. Maybe I'll say it again. It takes some gusto
Right.
to come in here and lay down what are people going to think of me?
Right.
What and I'll be honest, even I'm walking through here and there's people like in business suits and everybody, it seems like everybody at this conference, it's a very positive conference.
Yeah.
This is the most helpful community of people in the podcasting space. It's been amazing for me. But I will say this, I know the mindset of many people in here is, how can I be the next big thing?
Right.
And I think in your situation, having been there before, I understand of all people that it's easy to feel overlooked.
Yeah.
And people, I've even noticed, I don't know if it's because of COVID. I don't know if it's because of the last few years of the pandemic or anything like that. But like, just when I'm walking down the hall and like people, I'm very intent about looking people in the eye.
Right.
And like, I've just even not even saying, just I go up to people, I say hi.
Yeah.
And that's got to be very difficult. Can you express in your situation a little bit how that how that feels for somebody that's currently going through the situation that you're going through?
It is embarrassing for me to admit this, that I am homeless. And it's like I don't really want to say it, but then I also need to be honest and tell people. But I've had so many people say, I'm sorry. Oh my God, you're just so incredible, inspirational. It's humiliating to say I'm homeless, and then people have stuff. Sometimes I have smart stuff to say. What about your friends? What about your family? Why is anybody helping you? It's like, well, you should help too. You got something to say and do something to help, instead of just being smart about it. You don't know the whole situation about what's going on. So don't be judgy about it. But, I'm talking about being the next big thing. I don't want to be the next Tony Robbins. I want to be the first Bonnie Hardy.
Amen.
And I want to next year. I'm saying this right here. I've said it last night. I've been challenged to be here next year as a speaker and to bring my own guests.
Fantastic.
And I even told one of the ladies who had her own little breakout room, I said, I want to be one of your speakers next year here. Mm-hmm. So putting the intention out there into the world, mm-hmm. I'm letting as many people know as possible what's going on. It's like, look, if I can be homeless, I actually last night ended up sleeping totally on the ground. So it wasn't, the most comfortable thing, but that's what I had to do because I had to be close by to here, and I can't sleep in the hotel because I'm not a guest.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, hey, that's what I had to do. I got up early. I got in. Chris contacted me. We said, oh, we're doing this right now. It's good. So, just get out there and do it. If you want to do something, you have dreams. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Who cares? If they're talking you out of your dreams, they're probably talking themselves out of their own dreams. And there's really not too many dreams that are unattainable these days. Just put it out there in the universe. Tell your family and friends what you want to do, and they'll help you do it. If you come across as you're cool, as you're nice, if I would have come to Chris and say, hey, I want to be on your podcast, you're going to put me on the next podcast right now, right? He'd probably been like, no, Bonnie, go away. He came to me and said, Bonnie, we're going to do this podcast. And we just set it up this morning, to be honest with you. Yeah. So it was a real quick thing to do. And I said, yes, let's go for it. It's early enough in the morning. Not many people here at the convention. let's do this thing. So just get out there and do it. When life hands you lemons, make lemonade and go for it.
We had some people walk through, so this is being edited a little bit. But you were talking about having a place to stay at. We're at a convention center hotel right now. What are things that people can offer if they want to help someone?
Sometimes it's just giving somebody like $5 to go buy breakfast, or I've actually made, and I got to make again and make videos for, like a homeless bag where you put like water, toiletries for the bathroom, maybe some tissue paper, stuff like that, hand sanitizer, some small little snacks like crackers or something like that, shampoo, soap, deodorant, whatever, stuff like that, because you don't realize that, I can do what I call the Starbucks 180, and I don't know how many other women can do this. And what it is in the morning, because most of the time I'm close to Starbucks in the morning, so I have to go in there, and I've got like 3 minutes to go to the bathroom, change my shirt, brush my teeth, comb my hair, get ready for the day. And I don't know how many people can do that quick. Yeah. But you got to go in, you got to be quick, and you got to get everything done. And it's just like, I'm being compassionate and don't judge. Maybe, give somebody enough money to get a hotel room for the night or something like that, or give them a gift card. I've had people give me gift cards to different places.
Yeah.
So, something simple like that means a lot. And just, say, my thoughts and prayers are with you. I hope that things improve for you. And just, don't judge. Just imagine if you were in that position, or one of your family members were in that position, how would you want them to be treated?
Yeah. One of the things that I want to talk to you about is sort of how you're following your dreams with this. So I'm sure there are a lot of people, don't take this the wrong way, all right? But I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that would say, well, why don't you just get a job? Why don't you just do what you can to survive instead of sleeping where you can? And why don't you do something? I've been in that situation myself. Yeah. So what do you say about that? What do you think? You said you're 57,
right? Yeah.
At your age, I mean, what do you think about? Obviously, you've lived a life, you've had some situations,
right?
So what would you say to someone that says, "Hey, just get a job," versus following your dreams? I mean, you're 57. Right. You're not 20. You're not 20.
Yeah. I understand, and that happens, and I understand that people are just trying to be helpful and say, why don't you just get a job? I personally find that kind of insulting, to be honest with you, because first of all, I do have a job.
Yeah.
I am doing the marketing for a local coffee shop.
Uh-huh.
But I have certain situations going on with me, which you could say they're excuse or whatever. I don't really care. You don't know everything that's going on. I have bad knees. I have a hard time standing and walking around for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And also, why don't you sit down and do stuff online? I do stuff online. I'm doing several different things to make money, take surveys and do things online. And I'm signing up for different places, like Fiverr and Upwork to do that. So for a while, I didn't even have a phone. So it's hard to do stuff without a phone. So it's one of those things where it's a vicious cycle. And with the knees, I was actually told by 2 different orthopedic surgeons I might need to have both knees replaced by the time I'm 60.
Oh, wow.
That's like 2 years from now.
Oh, wow.
So, and I don't necessarily need to have that done, but I need to have knee surgery done because I've got torn ligaments. And you see me walking, Chris. Sometimes I walk kind of bow-legged and stuff.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So, that's a vicious cycle. If I had knee surgery done, I would be living a better life, have less pain, be able to move and do more. I can't have knee surgery done if I don't have a roof over my head.
Right.
I have to have money coming in to have the roof over my head, but I have to be pain free to do certain places, to do certain things, to get money coming in.
Yeah.
So when I explain all that to people and I say, what would you do if you were in this position? And that usually stops them dead in their tracks.
Right.
So I don't mind you ask that question. It's the way you ask. If you come at me saying, why don't you just get a job? You're a lazy pig. You're this, you're that. I'm not going to respond to you. Right. I don't need to defend myself to anybody. I don't need to explain myself to anybody. If you come at it, well, why don't you try this or do that? That's okay.
Yeah.
So
empathy.
Have some empathy and sympathy. I'm not asking anybody for anything. I'll very rarely come out and just ask. Yeah. Now, if you offer, I'm not going to say no to anything,
right.
But I'm not going to just come out and ask. And people have helped me do different things. They send me money, and I use some to get a hotel room for a little while. I use some to get a bus pass. I use some to get a gym membership so I can work out and get a shower every day over there.
Yeah.
So, if you want to ask for my PayPal email address and send me a couple bucks, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to ask anybody for anything. It's like, I'm going to, I got myself into this position because of decisions I made at that point in time. The decisions I made were what I felt was best for myself and my cat.
Yeah.
And maybe some other situations I would have made a different choice, but that's the best choice I made at that time. And it's ended up me being homeless. However, some other situations would be even worse than this right now. So
Yeah.
I'm not real happy or not content, but I've got a kind of routine set up. I have plans. I'm planning on in June being able to make an announcement. I've got I'm staying in a hotel for 2 or 3 months and I'm getting everything set up. So
Good.
putting that intention out there that, that's going to happen real quick.
So I want to do this. I'm famous for setting up GoFundMes for people.
Okay.
So I'm going to set up a GoFundMe for you, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes, and I'll email you or text you or however the information for it. Misfits, if you are listening to this and you think that you can help Bonnie's situation, please click the link in the notes below, and let's help her change her situation. I think your outlook and your heart behind what you're doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
And also, so this is a topic that's come up on my podcast a lot. And so I have recently started a nonprofit. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but we work with the homeless, and we also work with people in crisis situations to provide temporary crisis housing for people. It's at a very low level right now.
Right.
So it's very preliminary. But when it, I want to stay in contact with you when it comes to fruition a little bit further. I'd love to have you as a contact for that and see how we can help you out.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We'll work together on that. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. So, getting back to our conversation a little bit, we talked a little bit. You're trying to be a mindset coach and a lifestyle coach a little bit. What, I saw your Facebook post with an actual routine of things that you do. What are some of the steps that you would recommend for people starting from ground zero to change their outlook on life and make their life look a little bit better?
That would be journaling, practicing gratitude, grounding. Just see how you can help others. Be of service to others. Go out with a hand out. Like in my situation, all I want is a hand out, a hand up. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm asking for a hand up.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a kick in the butt, a little bit here, there, and everything, and I can make stuff work. So just think about how grateful you are to have what you have in your life. Look at your children, look at your spouse, look at your job, your house, your car. I think how many people don't even have that. Look at the food that you have to eat. We've talked before about how can I even eat certain food because I can't cook anything. I haven't had popcorn in the microwave for quite a while because I can't cook it,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, just whatever you have, be grateful for, and every morning list of stuff you're grateful for, and I guarantee your outlook is going to change. And if you see somebody not doing as good as you, just at least say, have a nice day. How are you doing? Something like that.
I don't know. Hang on 1 second.
All right.
I'm gonna be back and forth to this house, bro. I can't go out there. We got too much sleep. Yeah,
You're good. No worries.
Yeah, because I'm about to get loud right now. I'm about to drag these tables from one end all the way to the next.
It's all good, man. So it's we might have to wind this down a little bit, but I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. I'm very happy that I met you here this week, and I just want to say that I feel like things are looking up for you, and I think you're a light. And don't let anything. I just love the resolve that you have for what you're doing. I know it's an intimidating thing in life to be in the situation you're at, and I know that there's not a lot of people that understand that. So I just want to speak into you, just blessings and speak life to you. I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I think you got a great heart for what you're doing. And whether or not people understand that or not, I just feel like good things are coming for you. So keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate being on your show. I believe I'm number 50 of your podcast. So that's pretty cool on the Misfits podcast show. So thank you for inviting me to do this. I do appreciate it. It was great meeting you, and we're going to be like lifelong friends now and stuff like that. We're going to do hope some collaborations together in the future and stuff, you know?
No worries. It's all good. So at the end of every episode, I ask all my guests the same question. It's one question, two parts. So what was the last goal that you completed, and what's the next goal that you want to set for yourself?
The last goal that I completed was last month. I lost like 8 pounds. I wanted to lose 10, so it was almost a goal I completed, but not quite. And the next goal is probably to be just more consistent with working out, with working on my personal development, with helping others on their personal development. Ask them what their goals are and what can I do to help you get to your goals in your life.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Bonnie, like I said, I'm very excited that I've got to sit down and talk with you. I really want to share your story. I know we've had a lot of stuff going on in the background here with people moving around, but I thank you for sitting down and talking to me, and I'm just excited to see what happens for you in the future. All right.
Thank you, Chris. It was great being here today. I appreciate it. So everybody have a great day. I'm not sure what day this is coming out, but whatever day it comes out, have a great day. And you make the day great if you want to. You can make it great or you make it bad. Make it great, okay?
Yeah. Well, Misfits, we're going to put information down in the show notes down below for you to check out Bonnie. I'm going to help her out with a little bit of her social media stuff and let her know where we can find her and everything like that. But if you've been moved by this situation at all, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and set up a GoFundMe for Bonnie, and it's going to be in the information down below. If you feel so inclined, I'm sure she could use the help with donating. But let's help her. Let's help her grow herself and help her
help me help myself.
Others.
Help me help myself and help others. Because the more I can help myself, the more I can help others. I've already seen a really good trickle down effect. So the more I'm helped, the more I can help others, and I have a worldwide audience that I can really help.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for coming on the podcast. It's been fun talking to you, and let's go back to the Podfest.
All right, we're going back. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Well, Misfits, we did it. That's our episode. As always, I want to thank you so much for listening, and thanks again to our sponsors. If you want to support any of our sponsors, there are affiliate links on the sponsors tab of our website over at www.misfit-heroes.com. You can also find links to all of our social media there, so be sure to follow us for immediate up-to-date info about the podcast. Please, if you enjoyed this podcast, Misfits, and you want to help me out, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button down below so you're notified of new episodes as they're released, and be sure to leave a rating and review of the show on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. Truly, Misfits, I love you. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, be kind, love one another, and be a hero.